Hello, hello. Happy Monday. All right, I have all my stuff in front of me. You guys know how I work. So we are going to get started tonight. I love Monday's tip of the week, and I am going to be very disciplined in hopefully not going overboard, which seems to be what I do. So I want you guys to feel welcome and I want you to have a good time and be a part of this with me today. So I hope you're having an excellent Monday. Mondays aren't my favorite. So we're going to let people hop on here for a little bit and I want you to feel welcome. So hop on here, ask questions, post your comments and questions, and just feel a part of. Okay? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods, and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks, the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. So as we wait for people to hop on, if you guys have any questions and you're hopping on now, please feel free to ask them, and I would be happy to answer them for you. While we're waiting just a few minutes for people to hop on before I get started tonight. So for those of you who don't know, Mondays are tip of the week. Thursdays here on the page is content night, okay? It's all about the IEP and content, all right? And tonight is all about the IEP, but it's just a simple tip of the week, which many of you know I always go above and beyond with that, but I'm going to try to be more disciplined with that and really keep it, not at an hour. You know what I mean? So for those of you who are hopping on, my name is Raven Woods and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks, the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. So if you're new to watching me, post a 1 below. Okay, in the comments, say hello, tell me who you are, and make sure to post a 1 below. If you're an oldie but goodie, you guys know what to do, post a 2 below. So with that said, tonight's tip of the week, and we're actually going to talk about this a little more and more, is we are actually going to be touching base on ESY. And we're going to be talking about that coming up quite frequently because this is that time of the year. You look at it like once you kind of hit Groundhog Day is when you got to start thinking ESY. Okay? So for extended school year, which is what ESY is, it is so important. All right, especially for children with special needs. Okay, now does everybody need it? No, but if your child has special needs, more likely than not, they could benefit from it. Okay, now with that said, that doesn't mean they automatically get ESY. So what qualifies them for ESY? How can you get your child ESY? And what if my child's passing? What if, So let's talk about that for a second. So some things that you need to know about ESY is it's not only for a child that's failing or not doing well with their goals or not meeting their goals. There's no stipulation under IDEA that says if your child's failing and if your child's not doing good on goals, then that's what ESY is for. Then you 100% qualify because your child's failing and your child's not meeting their goals. It's not just for children who are failing or children that are not meeting their goals, because many of our kids are not failing, but they aren't where they need to be. Okay, and many of our children don't get ESY. Why is that? Is it because you haven't asked for ESY? Is it that you've asked for ESY, didn't know how to support it, and back up your reasoning? Whatever the reason is, try to figure it out and figure out what it is that needs to be put in place so that you can then PPPN, which is present. Well, you have to plan and prepare, and then you present, persuade, and negotiate. All right, you got to plan and prepare and figure out the why before you can go present it in the right way and persuade them. Okay? So, another thing is it's not limited on regression. Okay? So, hypothetically, over the summer, your child has shown that they regress once they go back to school that following year, and they're kind of playing catch up. All right. It's not limited to children who regress. Okay. So, number one is if your child is failing or not meeting goals, sure, they would be under that ESY umbrella of needing ESY desperately. Okay. And a child that has shown to regress, they are under that umbrella of ESY, right? But neither are stipulations to any other child under IDEA 2004. I hate saying the number 2004. Okay, I'm just going to say IDEA. All right, but neither are stipulations under IDEA that this is the only reason. Okay, so 3, ESY is just like I say in regards to an IEP. It is not a one size fits all. It's not a child has to fit under this umbrella to then qualify for ESY. Okay. So extended school year is not specifically for the children that regress, specifically for a child not meeting goals, specifically for a child who's not passing. Okay. Because realistically, some of our kids don't even get an accurate report card or get what's called grades, because they're either in a more restricted environment or that's just not part of their IEP. Whatever the case may be, not all our children are on that gen ed track. So speaking generally to everybody, it's not specific to any certain thing. Regression, goals not being met, failing, etc. Okay, so don't let the school systems kind of feed you that BS. Okay, you don't want to fall for that because that is not under IDEA at all. There is no, you have to fall here to get ESY. Okay, so the next thing, number 4, I want you to know is ESY, and I love this part. ESY can be done anywhere. It's not a school-based thing. It is definitely not summer school. Okay? So summer school is a child didn't pass something, they're struggling, etc., and they go to summer school so that they can kind of make up that work, right? So extended school year is nothing like summer school. Okay? It has a lot more flexibility. It is designed and should be designed specifically for our unique children. And it is where it can be anything, just like the IEP. So I'll just give you an example for me. My daughter's gone to a therapeutic riding program, a camp. And there was goals that she met there because of going to this therapeutic riding camp. Okay, so there's theater camps out there where, high schools in different places have theater camps where it's for special needs children, and they're amazing. I don't know if you have them in your county, but you should definitely look it up. So there's so many different programs out there that it's not just school-based, okay? And don't let them also say to you, well, it's only between this time and this time. So that's accurate and not accurate. All right. So for example, extended school year is typically from this period of time to this period of time through the summer. All right. Well, dependent on your child and what you do is dependent on what you get. All right. And so again, you have to be able to persuade them in the right way to be able to kind of expand your arena, so to speak. All right. So, for example, you can have a situation where your child's at a school with having therapies, doing OT, PT, speech, and whatever. And then you can have it where they're bused or privately taken to a therapeutic riding camp or a theater camp or anything that you choose. Okay. And it's difficult. All right. I will be very honest with you. It is very difficult to initially get, but once you have it, it's like anything else. It's like speech or OT and some of these other things. Once you have it, it's a lot easier to keep. Getting it is where it's hard. Okay? So you can't give up because you keep hitting a wall. All right? So the next thing I want you to know is this goes back to what I teach all my students in the course is you better be really good at keeping track of your records. Okay? You have your evaluation, your eligibility stuff. Okay, that's done. Then every year after, you're requesting your full scholastic record. Every year you're requesting a reevaluation from the school, and in all 50 states, a parent has a right to request a reevaluation every single year. It's under what's called reasonable amount of time. Our children change tremendously in a year's time, and that is within your right. Okay? Then the third thing you want to do, so you also want to do an IEE, which is an individual education evaluation. All right. In doing that, you're gathering what I teach my students, how you're hunting and gathering your information to then go and create your plan. You're preparing and planning, all right, to then go present, persuade, and negotiate to get the things that you want in the IEP, and understanding that whole process and the headache of it and the foreign language of it and the overwhelm and stress. And, I got, messages today of I'm ready to pull my hair out. Nobody's helping me. Can you help me? I get it. It's hard. It's frustrating, but you got to keep fighting. You just have to. And you have to keep pushing forward. All right. And I can promise you that once you get the process, the rest is smooth sailing. I'm not saying that you're not going to hit a wall every now and then. I'm not saying that you're not going to disagree and have issues that come up. I'm not saying that you won't make a state complaint. I'm just saying it's going to be a lot more smoother. Okay. So the next thing you want to do each and every year is make sure you have all of your quarterly progress reports that are supposed to be given to you every time a report card's given out. Okay. So make sure that you keep these things in mind. It is ESY time of the year, and it's super, super, super important that you start thinking about that. Okay. So there's your tip. All right. So if you're just hopping on and you're just, getting to know this site, page, whatever, if you haven't hopped over to the group, check it out. It's where everybody, talks and has conversations and asks questions and all that kind of stuff. Here on the page is where I go live on Mondays and Thursdays. And over on the group is kind of where all the conversation happens, and we do a Q&A over there on Tuesdays for about 30 minutes. So if you're new and you're catching the replay, post a 1 below, say hello, let me know who you are, where are you from, and does your child have autism or what type of special need, and just make yourself welcome. And again, if you haven't head over to the group, definitely join the group. And then if you are an oldie but goodie, you guys know what to do. Post a 2 below and just say hello. So we'll go over these really quick. So number 1, we talked about ESY, which is extended school year. All children, in my opinion, should get ESY if there's a need there. And the need is not a one size fits all. The need is not, oh, you're not meeting your goals, you automatically get this. Or, oh, you're regressing, you automatically get this. Oh, you're not passing, you automatically get this. Okay? Sure, those are reasons to get ESY, but there's so many other reasons that you can get ESY, okay? Remember too, ESY can be anywhere. It can be any type of program. You have to speak up. You have to tell the school system that this is something that you want and why, and be able to support it. All right. That's where the preparing and planning of the PPPN comes in. And then you present, persuade, and negotiate. All right. And then the other thing is just remember your data. Your data is super important. It's super important to keep track of. It's super important to have. So that's why each year you want your records. Each year you want to do an evaluation with the school, an IEE, which is separate from the school. You put those together, see how they are. Then you've already collected your progress reports, which should be given to you quarterly when report cards are given out to students who don't have any special needs. And so as long as you're staying attuned with the things that you're supposed to be doing, then you have your documentation together. Okay. And if you have any questions, I will stay on for about 5 to 10 minutes and answer those. And if you want to set up a discovery call with me, which is free, just message me and I will send you the link, or I can post the link here below if you're wanting to set up a discovery call. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, hi Sabrina, hi Jessie, Hernandez, Kylie, how are you guys? First Lady, what's your first name? Marlene, Michelle, and Leanne. Hello, hello. I thought ESY was only to ensure retention. Nope, it's not. Leanne says, kind of new, but watched a couple live videos. Have a 7-year-old daughter who has Down syndrome. Or welcome. How are you liking it so far? Kylie says they're offering ESY once little man starts kindergarten. That's awesome. So that's a good thing. Good thing, right? So does anybody else have any questions in regards to ESY, what it entails, what you need to, oh, and Marlene, welcome. I just saw that. Welcome. So if you guys are just popping on, I see people coming on, going off, that kind of thing. I know how that goes. And a lot of people catch the replays. So we spoke about ESY. My name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. And I'm also the founder of the course Rock the IEP. All right. I enjoy your videos. I have taken several notes for upcoming. Awesome. That's wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So there is your tip of the week. All right. For a Monday night, I had boundaries. All right. I kept it short and sweet. I've only been on here about 18 minutes. Again, I'll hang out for another 4 to 5 minutes for questions. But yeah, ESY, I'm going to be talking about it a lot more, because it's that time of the year. Think Groundhog Day to April. ESY time. All right. Oh, goodness. We'll have to talk about that in the course, Erin. First Lady says, my daughter's IEP meeting is tomorrow. Good luck. Yeah, that's a long conversation, Erin. Let's talk about that in the questions. Put it under the post for your questions. Marlene says, what is about, I have an autism kid. What is your question? Jessie says, we are good getting everything together for an IEP meeting for next year for little man for homeschool setting. Gotcha. That's wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Yeah, IEP's coming up. It's that time of year again. So make sure you don't go into an IEP unprepared. You want to make sure that you're prepared. All right, yeah, go do that now. We have a private group for the course, and every day we do a Q&A. ESY is extended school year. So it's something super important, and it's a rough one to fight for typically. So it's one that can be a pickle, and that's putting it lightly. So yeah, it's quiet tonight. Quiet. Wow. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. All right. Yeah, ESY is kind of a subject where some people are familiar with it and some people are not. So it's one of those hard ones, you know. But it's definitely one that people need to be more aware of. I know so many people have been slammed down because of requesting it that they just kind of let it go. But you shouldn't. You shouldn't let it go. And ESY can definitely help your child, and especially with different programs that they have out there. Like, you know, I was talking about the therapeutic writing program. I was talking about there's a art, like a theater arts type camp that's out there for children with special needs. There's so many different things. There's amazing reading programs for children with special needs. Um, there's just so many things that you could be thinking of in regards to ESY, and a lot of people that I've talked to didn't realize that you don't have to stay in the school setting for ESY. You can go anywhere. You can go to send your child to a camp. I've done it multiple times. I know other people who have too. And you know, you just have to, you definitely got to be able to PPPN right. You definitely do. But it definitely is something that is obtainable, and it's something that they do. And it's in and under idea that it's not a one size fits all, just like the IEP. They won't have the meeting until August, but I'm starting now, getting everything ready. Gotcha. Um, yeah, I have a meeting in April and then August. Um, okay. I was told last year that my daughter didn't qualify. And what was their reasoning? Because she got therapy outside of school during the summer. That doesn't mean anything. But her therapies were PTOT speech. Is that right? So they can provide the therapies. So that's part of ESY. So they could be providing the therapies. They could be doing all kinds of things. Oh my goodness. So it's one of those things where that sounds like an excuse to me, because there's no way to say, oh no, we can't provide ESY because your child gets therapies outside of school. That doesn't even make sense. Angela says, my son is autistic, PDD, ADHD, severe anxiety, and the school will not give him a IEP, only a 504. So the problem with what you just said, Angela, is you noted all his diagnosis, his DX, okay? But nobody cares about that. I'm just going to be very frank with you. So nobody cares about the diagnosis, all right? What does the diagnosis, which is a disability, hopefully, okay? So, well, not hopefully, but most of our children who have a diagnosis, it shows in a disability, and some type of disability, okay? A diagnosis is done by a medical doctor. It can't be done by a psychologist or anything else. It has to be done by a doctor, okay? A psychologist and all those types of people who diagnose like ADHD and sometimes autism, because they take the child through the accurate, they are accurate, tests, is a diagnosis, that they say is a diagnosis, but it's actually not deemed under IDEA as a diagnosis, okay? A diagnosis is only allowed to be done by a doctor and signed off by a doctor, okay? A psychologist can do all the testing and say that your child appears to have. They need to use those types of words. The testing shows that type wording, okay? Where a doctor can say autism. A doctor can say Down syndrome. A doctor can say ADHD, all right? Where a psychologist and somebody who is not an MD should, this is on a legal scale, should only be able to say child shows different things in regards to this. Child, within this testing, there's GARS testing and all these different types of testing. Within this testing, the child is showing likelihood of autism. It's all in the wording and the verbiage, okay? So just remember, a diagnosis is only legally allowed to be done by a doctor, an MD, all right? Nurse practitioners are fine too. So that's important to remember, all right? But back to Angela, autistic, PDD, ADHD, severe anxiety, all diagnosis, okay? You don't get an IEP off a diagnosis. You get an IEP based off the impact of disability that stems from the diagnosis. So instead of saying my son is autistic, PDD, ADHD, severe anxiety, you should have said my child has been diagnosed with da-da-da-da. The impact of his disability in education is da-da-da-da. Okay? Then I could say, oh, okay, then your child is correct and the school's right and he should have a 504. Or I could then say, no, I would definitely push for an IEP. Okay? But it has nothing to do with the diagnosis. Nothing. Okay? Diagnosis is simply that. Okay? It's the impact of disability. All right? So your child's disability has more than likely an impact on their education. That could be behavior, it could be academic, it could be all kinds of things. Okay? It could be sensory. I could go on and on. But stop bringing up the diagnosis to the school. Okay, yes, I think you should have, whatever it is that your child has in the IEP. So if it's autism or Down syndrome or ADHD, etc. Yeah, that should be noted in the IEP. But don't be picky about where it goes. Who cares? All right? As long as it's in there. I don't care if it's just in the parental concerns. Because that IEP is not based off of autism. It's not based off of, Down syndrome or ADHD. All right. I had this conversation with a parent and she was hell bent on the fact that she was told that that she had to have autism put into her IEP because she would then qualify for more services. Not true. At all. It is so not true. I can't even tell you how not true it is. You don't get more services based off a label, okay? You don't get more services based off a label. I don't care what the diagnosis is. I care about what the impact of disability is, okay? Hear me out here. Your child has, someone here, she said Down syndrome. Someone here said, autism, PDD, ADHD, all these types of things, right? All right. So let's just break that down. This is what you have to do with IEP stuff too. All right. So let's just go off of ADHD and let's just go off of severe anxiety. That actually is qualified under a 504. But it can also be qualified under IDEA in the 13 categories under other. And there's other things that it could be under as well. So there's sticky areas, but bottom line, it comes down to what that impact from the diagnosis is. Okay, so the diagnosis is anxiety or ADHD or autism. Okay, well, that diagnosis is a disability in itself. Okay, but that diagnosis has impact on that child. Okay, so it doesn't matter what it is. Typically speaking, 99.9% of the time, if your child is diagnosed with something, there is going to be an impact on them. So What is that impact? How is that impact affecting their education? Not what the schools are telling you. Not, oh, your child's doing wonderful and just fine and there's nothing wrong. What is it you and your gut believe? And then you have to then be able to create your plan of action to then take action. All right. You can't be intimidated by things that come back or hiccups that may happen or things that what I call a setback. You know, you have to be very patient with the IEP process. You have to be focused and you have to know how to handle things in the right way. And sometimes that's a little give and take. All right. You know, play to them for a little bit to bring them back to you for a little bit, you know, because bottom line, it all comes down to your child getting what they need and deserve and what's the most appropriate for them. And the only way to have an appropriate IEP written is to have your scholastic records every year, to have your reevaluation every year, to have your IEE done every year. You pay for the IEE. Medicaid pays for it. Insurances pay for it. You may have to go within your network, but you go do that at the same time. Okay? And if you have any questions, make sure to message me. We can set up a discovery call and talk about it further. I get it's a frustrating process. I get you may be hitting a brick wall. I get the messages that I got today as far as, you know, can you help me? I'm really frustrated, you know. I get those all the time, and it's frustrating for me too to know that you're going through that because I've been there, and it's heart-wrenching and it sucks. So I get it. So definitely remember ESY is Groundhog Day to, you know, almost pushing towards the end of school because you got to get it handled. So if you have any questions about that, make sure you set up a discovery call. All right, so I'll move on. So I was told that my daughter didn't qualify. Okay. So hopefully I answered your question, Angela. It has to do with impact. It doesn't have anything to do with diagnosis. Hi, Christina. Is ESY beneficial for kindergarten or second grade? Yeah, ESY is beneficial for any grade. It's very difficult to get in the young, well, it's very difficult to get, period. But once you have it, you have it. And it's actually something that kind of repeats. You have to maybe fight it again, but it's a lot easier once you have it. I actually think it's very wise to start it at a young age because then you don't hit that regression or anything else or even see that. And because ESY isn't solely based off regression, there's other ways to go about it to get it for your child dependent on their need. So, and there are children that don't need it at all. I totally agree with that. But many children with disabilities do, you know? I mean, I'll just give you an example of something that can be part of ESY. Say your child's not potty trained. Well, ABA, my daughter, when she's 14 now, but when she was 3.5, 4, maybe she was 4, I did what's called intensive potty training. That was hell. And so those are programs that you can get through ESY. And that it's smart, you know, because that's going to help the school that next year if your child gets potty trained. You know what I mean? So always take things and flip them, you know? Let's see. Hazel said, yes, my child enjoy riding bus to ESY and his sped teacher tries to take away ESY. What do you mean riding bus to ESY? I'm confused. Is that like a smiley face, Leanne? Michelle says, can children in early intervention services receive ESY? I would actually, that would be a state thing. But under IDEA, yes. But early intervention is still, as long as it's within the school system and they have an IEP, then yes. All right. But if it's early intervention, as in early childhood special education, as in before they even enter school, then no. That would be a state thing. So you have to kind of, figure that out. Yeah, my child's 14. I don't remember. I'm in Virginia too, but I don't remember. So you got to kind of find out. All right. But as far as I think from speaking with you, your child has a IEP, so the answer is yes. But if it's, like for example, you know how children can start with their community service board at like 6 months and get, OT and stuff like that. And then they lead into, an early childhood program before they enter into the school at 2. Well, that would be a no. But as far as 2 and up, and as long as they have an IEP, then yes. Yeah, right. Yep. So, yeah, ESY has everything to do with the IEP. And um, even with a 504, you can get ESY. A lot harder than an IEP, but you still qualify for it. Okay. Any other questions? Tonight was pretty good. I finished everything on ESY in 18 minutes. That was killer for me. Wow. And then now we're at 36 minutes and I'm through questions and answers. Wow. It's like a quiet night tonight. Quiet, quiet, quiet. That's good because I have a late night tomorrow night. I have a Q&A and then I have a planning session afterward. So, all right. So if you have any questions, post them below. If you're new, make sure you post a 1 below. If you're an oldie but goodie, post a 2 below. And if you're watching the replay, welcome, welcome. And if you need to set up a discovery call, let me know and I'll also post it under here. So you guys have a good night and I will talk to you soon. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. All right, so I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good Monday night. Bye-bye.